Well, we are on. So, welcome to Elevate Today podcast, where we elevate one podcast at a time. I am with a phenomenal yogi instructor, Ben Wexler. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I actually haven't taken one of your yoga classes yet, but I just know because of your passion and your love for the art that you are a phenomenal teacher and just a spiritual journeyer, adventurer. So I wanted you to come on and just talk about your journey, your life, and how you've elevated to the point that you're at today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
so
glad to be here.
The first thing that caught my attention when you got here is you have a van.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you living in it now?
I am not living it right now. It's like an intermittent thing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually live with my mother in South San Jose. But I take it like on the road for whenever the road calls me. You know what I mean?
Dang.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's hard to balance though because I have a cat and it's hard to like.
Have you taken your cat?
No. Yeah, not yet. That's kind of the next step. But actually like my van life journey is kind of being cut short a little bit because is everything cool?
Yeah.
Because I'm moving to Phoenix. Yeah, I'm actually like I was in a big like traveling phase, exploring phase. And that's the van served a lot of that. But now I think it's time for me to go somewhere and dig roots and open my own studio.
Dang.
Yeah. So as much as I want to do the nomadic thing and try to sell courses online or, go that route, I just think I strongly believe that the best way to serve the medicine that is yoga is in person at a studio. Like a lot of people, and no, dirt on whoever wants to like practice at home or those that are recording like yoga videos and stuff like that. It's just that's not potent to me, and I just feel that like whatever is not potent to me is not the thing that I want to do. You know what I mean? Like if something doesn't resonate with me as a consumer, then how am I going to resonate with it at the optimal frequency as a producer of it? And so what resonates with me is in studio classes. And so it's unfortunate because I love my van. I love traveling. I'm single. I have no kids. Like it's a great time for me to travel, but I'm just continuously called to make this studio happen. And there's just no way around it being a physical place. I've tried. It's just not like doing stuff on Zoom, doing stuff on like live streaming, making YouTube videos. I've done all that. And it's just not the same because doing yoga to a video in your house, like you're doing it at your house still. Okay. A yoga studio is a very like sacred space. Like if it's designed properly. You will, I mean, depending, right? Like I know studio owners who I love, they make it like party and that's their thing.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but that's not my vision. My vision is it's going to be a very reverent space. And your house is probably not like that, and you have to practice in your house and you have to practice by yourself or maybe with your partner. And whenever you are practicing like yoga means union, like yoga to yoke. It means union. The translation is union. So union is like to bring together, right? If you're doing yoga by yourself, you're missing a lot of the magic. A lot of the magic is in flowing with other people side by side, connecting your breath to theirs, and then like becoming one massive like organism that's just breathing and moving together as one. Like there's so much medicine in that.
Yeah.
You can't get that at home.
That's so true. And you weren't always doing yoga. So I read that before yoga you were a fighter, and before fighting you were a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So how did you get to yoga, or which I know you'll say is how did yoga get to you?
Yeah. You've done your research.
I have.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I grew up not athletic at all. Like at all. And I used to get picked on. I was very skinny. And so eventually I made a friend who was like really strong, and he made me like a routine, like a gym routine. And I started getting into that. and it was all about the gains,
Yep.
you know, and that very quickly like took over. I was like, okay, like I need to take creatine. And this was back in the day when like, what's it called? Oh my God. Super Pump 250 was like the pre-workout. It's illegal now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like they banned this pre-workout. Like that's how long
Jeez.
ago this was. Creatine was new, and I would just go and focus on the gains, and like that's where I equated like lots of value. Like I felt like I could, deep down, I think I felt like I could solve all my problems if I was just like swole enough, right?
Yeah.
Then that gave me the strength, because my same friend, he was also into martial arts. He's a boxer and he was transitioning to kickboxing.
Okay.
So I started doing that. And this was pre-yoga. So I would go and I learned a lot, but I was still clumsy because I didn't have the awareness, even though I practiced. Then I competed one time. It was a smoker. I had 2 fights back to back. I lost the first one and I won the second one. So I lost the first one because I wasn't like confident enough.
Yeah.
I was like so much. If I could show you like video, like I was like jacked, and like I was training with Coach Giovanni Jordan, who's like just brutal conditioning. Like so I had cardio for days. I was bigger than this dude, but I was just like, it was my first fight ever.
How long were you training for fighting for before you did your first?
Probably a year.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just a smoker. It wasn't like an amateur fight. You know what I mean? A smoker, it's like you just pay a certain amount of money and then you just go and fight.
Yeah.
You know. Then I stopped. So after that fight, I stopped training.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's enough of this. And then I went to college. Excuse me. And then I went to college out of state in West Virginia. And so martial arts stopped. I kept lifting though. And then I ended up moving right next to a yoga studio.
In West Virginia?
Yeah. Well, okay, hold on. I actually took yoga in. So, okay, bodybuilding led me to martial arts, which then led me to yoga, because I was like, okay, I'm really getting into fitness now. Like my identity is starting to change. Like I am now someone that like works out. This is what I do now.
Yeah.
Where versus before it was like this thing I had to, this is like who I am. So I was like, okay, well, let's explore other modalities. My mom and my dad raised me to be spiritual. They're both very spiritual people.
What kind of spiritual?
Well, so they practice the religion called the Baha'i Faith, which is like a pretty new religion. It's like just barely over 200 years old. It was founded in Iran. They believe in a lot of really cool things, like progressive revelation, which is the idea that God sends down a prophet that's has a message that's relevant for that time specifically, because as consciousness, the average level of human consciousness evolves, a prophet has to come down to like speak to them at that moment. And so and in that way too, they validate all the main prophets, right?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool religion. I don't say that I practice it like specifically, yeah, that's complicated, but they practice that, and they're also just really spiritual. Like they're into like, my mom's really into like healings and stuff like that, like Reiki style stuff, and my dad like used to dabble in psychic stuff too, and yeah, so they're definitely like of that kind of vibe, and so like I learned about chakras like before I was 10.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's valuable.
Yeah, well, and they didn't like teach me anything in depth, but just knowing that there's chakras are there is still enough to. So then I was like, well, yoga's got the spiritual vibe, plus I knew there would be babes there. So
It's true.
So I enrolled in a class at Dianza, and I actually really, really liked it. So I enrolled in another class at Dianza, and then I transferred, and then I enrolled in another class, and I just really, really liked it. But the classes, like college classes, are cool, but like it's nothing compared to going to a real studio. But anyway, that gave me like the motivation to like, when I moved right next to a power yoga studio in Morgantown, West Virginia, I was like, okay, I didn't do 3 classes of yoga in college to move right next to this yoga studio and not go in. Mm-hmm. So several months went by. I eventually stepped foot in there. And so the way yoga found me, this is the way yoga found me, is they had a 2-week trial. Every membership, every like studio you go to, there's like some kind of introductory scheme, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like one free class, or maybe it's like $20 for a week, or whatever it is, or a month at a discounted rate, whatever it is, like to get you in the door. They had 2 weeks for like $25.
Oh, wow. And
I saw the price of the full membership, which was like $100 or $120 a month. Now I'm at the time I'm equating it to the gym. I'm paying $30 a month for the gym.
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna pay $100 a month to go do some yoga, right? And then so I basically tricked myself. I said, well, I'm gonna go to this studio every day for 2 weeks and then never go back. And then very quickly, like after about like the 6th or 7th, because you go and you do yoga and you leave, like if you do hot power yoga, like hot vinyasa yoga, you leave like with the biggest workout high of anything, like bigger than anything, bigger than Muay Thai, bigger than jiu-jitsu, bigger than anything. Like you are like on cloud 9, and your level of patience is through the roof. Stuff doesn't bother you anymore. Like you're so at peace, like you're so happy, you're so blissed out. And you also start to develop mindfulness, which is what you get in a mindfulness meditation practice, which is essentially just like awareness of what you're doing. It's just self-awareness, really. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because most of us we're not aware of what we're actually doing. Most of us are like, we're unconscious, right? You're just running through life on autopilot, reacting to stuff. Because you can react to something, or you can like respond, or you can like decide, right? So you can decide, you can make a conscious choice. This happened to me, so now I'm going to decide to react this way. Or how most people do it, it's just like, this happened, I have a pre-programmed set of, like neurons that are chained together in this like complex, and this stimulus equates to this reaction. It's just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, right? Well, whenever you develop a mindfulness practice, you can slow down, and you can there's space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you exist. That's where the true you exists, because that's when you can consciously say, I am choosing consciously to react in this way now, instead of just getting triggered or whatever it is, getting depressed, like overreacting, pick a flavor, So I kind of went off a little bit, but it's like, I started to notice that was what was happening to me. I was like, whoa, I'm starting to aware, because when you have the way that like your mind works, the way that these neural pathways work is it's like, okay, there's a stimulus, then there's one assumption, another assumption, another assumption, another assumption, another assumption, another assumption, and then finally output, right? Like it's just like a chain reaction.
And what's an example of a stimulus?
A stimulus is any like input. So what the frame that I'm talking about is like if someone says something to you, or let's say like a stimulus can also be like in scientific terms, a stimulus is just any input. Like right now you have visual stimuli, you have sensory stimuli, you have taste stimuli, right? You have auditory stimuli, right? But like in the context that I'm talking about, I'm saying like triggering things. So like, let's say you have a roommate who like never washes the dishes, right? So you come home and you see, I just washed all these dishes. Look at now the sink is a mess, and I just So your pre-programmed neural pathway is probably like, get really upset, like this person like is being disrespectful, like they're not listening to me. I somewhere in there is this idea of like fear of being unloved, of being disrespected, even though it wasn't personal at all. This person's just lazy, you know? And then so you might get angry and then like yell at them, right? Or you might go the other way and get passive aggressive at them, right? Whatever it is, it's like there's the trigger, and then now you're going to respond this way, right? But it's all done so fast.
Yeah.
That it's not even you. It's just like how your traumas and how your life has shaped you.
And like patterns. I feel like
Patterns.
Our reactions are habitual. And if we can spot them, we can kind of change it. Because I've caught myself doing that to certain stimulus where I want to guilt trip them, or I want to make someone feel bad. And they're just like, oh, my bad. I was late. I lost track of time. But it's a little pattern that we continue to repeat until we're taught otherwise, like mindfulness, or the fact that there is a stimulus and then a reactive pattern after.
Yes, that's exactly right. Like that's exactly you hit the nail on the head. And so like that's what like meditation and yoga like helps you do. It helps you become aware of what they're doing. Like their famous Bible quote, like, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Like, it goes way bigger than, you know, whatever that reference was in the Bible. Like, most people don't know what they're doing. Like, most people are just reacting to stuff all the time. They're not really here. They're not really in the present moment. They're not in their bodies. They're thinking about other stuff. They're elsewhere. And so yoga, meditation brings you back. And so what happened to me was I started to notice, like, the branches. I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, I don't actually need to react this way. And I started to like peel them off one by one. And this was after like 5 or 6 days of yoga. And I was just like, what is happening to me? This is weird.
Dang. And you're like a jacked, like young guy that you wouldn't expect that from, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's a whole other story too. Like my identity situation, like, cause I was like, yeah, I'm like lifter. I don't do, you know, yoga, you know, but yeah, like, yeah, just being, I don't know, I've always been intellectual though. But that being said, like I started to notice that, and I started to notice, what I really noticed was how much anxiety I was constantly swimming through. So like a fish, this is a very common analogy, a fish that's never been taken out of water doesn't really know that water is there. It's just constantly in water, right? So that's it's like, so that it's like that for us in pain, right? Like if you have pain that's in your body or maybe trauma, like it's constantly there. You become numb to it because you've forgotten how it feels without it. So you don't even know that it's there, even though it could be weighing on you very heavily, right? So anxiety, I didn't know I had anxiety. Like, but after I started doing yoga, I was like, oh my God, like everything I do, every step that I take, I'm constantly fearing judgment, and I'm constantly questioning whether or not I'm good enough. Like everything that I did, like I felt like I was constantly under scrutiny. And so like, I very quickly realized like, this is not a workout. This is medicine. Like this is medicine for me. Like health insurance was costing me well over $100 a month. So, and who knows, like if I wanted to get on, you know, medication and that kind of thing, they have copays. Like that's, so if I view this not in the context of like a workout, if I view this in the context of I need this for my mental health, then $100 a month is nothing.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I was hooked.
Did you ever find the reason why you were constantly fearing people judging you or unworthiness? Did you ever find out what that came from?
I didn't find out. I don't think I found out like why specifically. I think it's probably like an aggregate of a bunch of traumas. But so, okay, this is actually a really like new like belief I'm coming to is like we do a lot of work in like spiritual circles to like find and go back to that repressed trauma, that one moment, go to that one moment and then live through it again and forgive that person and then release it, you know? And that's very powerful. It is very powerful. I've done that many, many times. But I'm at the state right now where I'm just like, can we cuss?
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck it. Like, why,
Yeah.
why go back and relive through all that bullshit when like I know where I'm at and I know what I need to do. So I don't need to go back. Like, I'm just gonna keep going forward. Like I
agree with that.
Yeah, like I don't need to go back and like, oh well, my dad did this to me in this time. There's a lot of power in that too, but it's at the same time, it's like you know where you are, you know where you want to go, you know what you need to do, just do it. You know. So I don't know. The answer is I think it's probably an aggregate, like, because like I said, I was picked on a lot. You know. Yeah, just a bunch of, you know. Yeah.
I think that mentality is you have to be at a certain level of consciousness, because I think people don't realize that they have the ability and right to be like, you know what, fuck it, I know what I need to do and I'm going to do it, and I'm gonna give it my all because I have a mission and I'm responsible to do that.
Yes.
Some people, they need to realize and think out their parent trauma and stuff like that, but if you don't leave it, you just keep blaming your parents, then you blame your spouse, your friends, your bullies. But it's like, develop awareness and move on and go. Because
exactly,
a lot of young adults, they stay there, but what's that gonna do? Because I've done those trauma recoveries where it's like, all right, let's go back to this one time, and I've done multiple trauma recovery therapies, and I'm like, oh no, I've already went there. Like, I've already cried the tears, but it's time to go elsewhere now.
Yes.
But I also believe that those kind of pains and traumas are very significant for a male, specifically that man journey, like facing battle or facing becoming a boy to a man through challenges and difficulties and trauma that you are meant to overcome. And I have like more old-fashioned values, but I think you might too. But whereas like a female who does go through a lot of different traumas, but they're the ones that's protected. The man protects them from, if possible, avoiding the trauma, preventing the pain. Like, that's a father's role, to protect their daughter from that, or eventually becomes the husband's role as like the father passes off his daughter to be protected. Yeah. Therefore, it's almost like a boy should go through pain. A boy should go through trauma, whether it's from the world, the father, bullies. It's like, it's the most necessary, unfortunate thing.
I've never actually thought of it that way. Like that, like girls to women are like in a way like sheltered by the shield that is men. We're constantly protecting y'all, you know? Yeah. I never actually thought of that. But yeah, I mean, for sure, you know, the only way out is through, you know, and the only way to grow is to have experiences, you know? So yeah. Yeah.
And the fascinating thing is, if you have the blessing to be protected and sheltered, it's better to develop your experience somehow, even if those that are around you want to protect you. It's like, you have to have those experiences.
I see that in you. That's why you're like actively doing all these things. Probably. Yeah.
And I face criticism for it too.
Like what?
My most recent one was, with my time, working a lot and not putting, or I should be working a lot because I'm young, but maybe going out some weekends and just giving all my energy to going out and having fun, and then maybe my dad being like, you have too much free time on your hands, kind of thing. Or
who's giving you the going out criticism? Your friends?
No one, actually. The going out one less, more so my time. Okay. I think people give me my space on that one. Hypocrisy, living more holistically, but then contradicting that when I go out on the weekends or when I go out.
Oh, you're saying you do go out, and so your dad is saying don't go out.
He's mostly like, where's your time going? Productivity. But I'm the fourth born and the one still around, and you know, he loves being a dad, so I got to get my 2 cents in from him here and there, and I respect it. But people in my life, they'll be like, don't do this, it's not good for you. I'm like, yeah, but I've never done it before. And then they're like, okay, yeah, go experience. You really need to have those life experiences. And I press into it more because I have a podcast. I want to help people, but how could I help someone if I've been home all my life?
Yeah.
Haven't connected with someone of different spiritual background, different life journey of van life, or like I want to do the Aubrey Marcus thing that you just did.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
About that experience?
So it's called Fit for Service.
Fit for Service.
And it's a community of people that want to get together basically to use their gifts to help people out, right? In a way, like ideally that's like like unplugged from like the 9 to 5, you know? Like, so you'll meet yoga teachers, meditation teachers, people that facilitate plant medicine ceremonies. You'll meet breath workers, like,
wow.
Yeah, like it's healers of like every kind. It's like there's people that will give you an Akashic record reading, which
what's that mean?
I don't really understand it, to be honest. My homegirl Jatem could tell you more about it, but it's like basically there's a library, like a cosmic library of everything that's ever happened, like in all of the galaxy, and like some people claim that they can go and read that and like read how you plug into it, and like so you can do that. Then there's like human design, which is like another style of like, you know how there's like what's the word, like what's Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, astrology, right? Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like a different kind of astrology, but it tells you if you're a manifester, a generator, a projector, like there. And then there's so many though. Then there's internal family systems, which is basically like everyone has a family inside of you that's always communicating. There's like a baby, a dad, like, and they're always like bickering or however they communicate, like, and there, it just exposes you to so many different healing modalities.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful. They have really powerful seminars too, like they have ecstatic dances. For me, the most powerful thing was the community though, by far. Like all these like super conscious people decide to show up, and then you get tapped in, and like, yeah, forever changed my life. I did combo afterwards.
What's combo?
Combo is like, it's this it's, I don't know if you call it plant medicine because it's from a frog, but basically like it's a very deep cleanse, specifically like down your lymphatic system. Like it cleans you out, and the way it cleans you out is you throw up a lot. Purge.
Is there another name for it?
Not that I know of. I doubt it.
Okay.
Combo. It's KAMBO.
Okay.
And like, so they'll burn a couple holes in your skin, and then put the venom on your skin. Wow. And then you just puke. Like, but it's like a spiritual kind of puking. Yeah. And then
is it like a psychedelic experience somewhat,
but not in like a trippy way.
Yeah.
It didn't like make you trip or make me trip, but it was like you could definitely feel the energy of like the frog in you. And
whoa.
Yeah, it's not fun, but afterwards you feel great. Then I did Bufo after that, which is 5-MeO DMT.
What does 5-EMO mean?
5-MeO, it's 5-methoxy.
Okay, so that's like the level of it?
So there's two different kinds of DMT. There's 5-MeO DMT, which comes from a from a toad.
Really?
Yeah, and then there's NN-DMT. And by the way, if anyone from Fit for Service is like watching this, like you can't like get any of this through Fit for Service. Like Fit for Service does not like, they're not advocating for any of these things. They don't sell any of these things. I want to make that clear. But you'll probably meet some people that do know where to go.
Yeah, and through the community that it provides. Yeah.
So, 5-MeO comes from the toad. And NN, and like the main NN, I've never actually done NN, but NN is like the main DMT. It's very colorful and very trippy. 5-MeO, like you basically, you see mostly black and you blast off, and then I merged with the collective consciousness. Like I basically went where we die and where we are before we're born. Yeah. And so then you can ask like you go become source again. And then like you can ask source questions, and then source will answer all of your questions in the most poetic and beautiful fashion you could ever imagine.
Dang.
And then you also just come back kind of knowing like that this is a game, you know. It's like even if you die right now, it's not the worst thing. Dang. You know, it's chilling.
What was it like when you came down?
When I came back?
Yeah.
I woke up, I came back, and I was just like, what? Because it's all black, but you're like, it's trippy. It's like the most trippy. Have you ever done a psychedelic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, have you done like a good dose, like an eighth?
Yes.
Okay, so you've like got visuals and stuff,
mm-hmm.
right? Okay, I going in, I was like, yeah, I've done acid, I've done mushrooms, like I can handle this, right? No. Okay, any like visuals you've gotten on one of the common psychedelics is child's play compared to DMT. It's absolute child's play.
That's kind of crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Shrooms are insane.
But okay, the thing is with shrooms, like you remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like I saw this meme a while ago. It was like when you do Bufa or DMT, it's like you blast off and you learn all the secrets of the universe, but before you go back, and then it's one of the machine elves. Do you know about machine elves? All right, Terrence McKenna talks about machine elves, which is like DMT entities that like when you blast off, there's like these like beings that are like shaped out of just things that are like gears that are just constantly turning, like beautiful, like indescribable, like, but they're beings, but they're not, it's not like we have skin, right? We have this membrane. Like they're just like shapes and like just constantly. I haven't actually seen one because I did Bufo, not NN. But anyway,
interesting. Yeah,
it's like one of the entities, and he's got a neuralizer, and he flashes you with the neuralizer. So it's like you learn all this stuff. Yeah, you learn everything. And it's like, but before you go back,
it's all gone, and you're just what?
And
like
you said. I mean, you get bits and pieces of it, you know. But yeah, it's not like I can't really like remember that much of like what I saw, you know, like the magnificence of it, because it was just like indescribable. But like, I feel like mushrooms, acid, like you can kind of see it still. You can remember like what you saw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or the epiphanies, the realizations, or how you felt about life and death to come back to a sober state of, okay, I'm here to fulfill a mission until tomorrow, or until however long it takes to fulfill that. And once that mission is accomplished, it's the next one.
You do, and I'm not trying to, you do get a lot of that still, like, but like the actual trip itself, you don't really remember that much, you know?
So why do you think it's worth it for you if you didn't remember?
Well, because of the what I learned from it, what I asked it gave me the answers, right? It gave me a few answers, and it wasn't like what I thought it was gonna be, the answers. I wish I wrote down like after, like I had a deep journal entry. One of the things that I realized was like that I'm like in my 30s now. Like I'm not like young Ben anymore. Like I am not. It's time to start thinking about the next generation.
Yes.
And it's time to start thinking about like leading them. And like, cause there's been several times in my life where I've been more experienced in some way, and like a younger man has looked up to me in a way, and I would like kind of shirk it off, like who am I, Who am I? Like, I'm not someone you want to be looking up to, you know? And also, like, this isn't my burden to bear. This isn't my problem.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, no, this is your role now. Like, this is what you have to do.
Yes.
You know? And so that hit me out of nowhere. Yeah. And there's a few more, but yeah, it's definitely worth doing, I would say. Absolutely.
Yeah. That your realization has become like everything to me, like preparing the next generation, which is my generation technically, but like really what that is each other, like get each other out of the routine, the systematic thinking, and that's why things like yoga are so empowering, because you kind of like you feel yourself in your own body, and it's more than I have to get here at this time. It's like, okay, you've arrived now let your mind and your spirit and your body become one, and just like let them say hello to each other, because it's such a different feeling once you're following this time thing, time, like rushing or numbing, or like that's really what it is. I feel like we're rushing to the next thing, or we're trying to numb ourselves from right now. That's so many people. Very few things get us out of that. But we all need to just kind of have that wake up so that we can connect to source and let our spirits come forward so that we can actually experience this life. Like, I don't know why psychedelics do this, but it really makes your life look like this. You're just like, oh, we're here, and then we evolve to a different spiritual consciousness. So like, here's cool, but next is going to be cool too. It gives you this piece of life that I wish upon everyone to realize. It's fun no matter what. It's going to be a fun experience, but even when death happens, it's just part of this interesting journey.
Yeah, what you're describing, some people call ego dissolution. Like,
whoa, ego dissolution. What is that?
So ego is the idea. Ego is me versus you. I'm separate from you, right? I am. This is me. I'm separate from everything, right? And so when ego dissolves, you realize you are part of everything.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why you feel small, right? Like, you're like, yeah, you feel so small, and it's because in that it dissolves your ego, and you realize you're connected to everything, and life isn't all about this life, this one life, right? You are part of this thing that's bigger than you.
Yeah, and it's like once you feel that, and you meet someone who really is going through life, and maybe they need help, and you help them, like, it feels like you're pulling them up, but you're really pulling yourself up.
Yes.
And it's a weird euphoric feeling where you're like, this is what I meant to do.
Yeah.
And that love, that feeling is a principle of what life is about. Considering it's so freaking short.
I was thinking about this the other day, like, when you have doubt, it's actually a very like selfish energy, because you're only focusing on you. Yeah, you're only thinking about, what if I mess up? What if I am not good enough? Right? And when you're doubting something, right, that something is a gift that you are trying to bring forth, that you can even say the divine is calling on you to bring it forth, because it keeps knocking, right? You have an idea, and it's like, hey, do this, you know? And it keeps entering your consciousness over and over again. And so it's like, it's begging for you to make it, right? But you don't do it because you doubt it, right? And it's very me. But if you follow through and you birth what it is that's trying to be birthed from you, like in your mental womb, then you help not just yourself, but people that want your gifts as well. So it's like you said, you're lifting both up. Right? You're not just lifting you up, you're lifting both up. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a cool like thought that I had the other day. Cool. Yeah.
That must make the fit for service thing like so amazing, because everyone has such different gifts.
Yes.
Even like promoting each other's stuff or getting other people associated to your people. It's like, dang, this is magical. This is like a little rainbow of different gifts and us functioning in that gift. And that's why I really believe in just like no competition.
Mm-hmm.
We got to keep each other getting higher and higher.
Yes.
No competition. Just find your uniqueness and let the world see that if you know how to portray it. But you're right. A lot of people really stay in the self-doubt and ego, and we all have it, but you just can't listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna stay there, especially as you feel called to do more challenging things that were planted in your mind but totally out of your comfort zone. It's like, I'm not qualified, I'm scared, people are gonna judge me for this, who am I to do this? But it's like, that voice isn't going anywhere, so say hello to that voice and just do it. It's quite simply that.
And yeah, and just to bring it back to Fit for Service, like it affected me way more than just doing some psychedelics. Like, I actually like ended up getting into like door-to-door solar sales for a little bit. Like, and that put a bunch of money in my bank account. I have a new network of friends. Like, I have like some of my best friends are from there. Like, it affected me in some really big ways. I got a breathwork certification. Like, I'm certified. I can like lead people through breathwork ceremony now. Like, so it's just, it taps you into this like very potent community of people with tons of different gifts.
Dang.
And they're all, like you said, tons of different gifts, but it's all towards, trying to up level, so it's beautiful. It does get kind of annoying though, because like every Friday somebody's got a breath work. Every Saturday somebody's got an ecstatic dance.
How long were you there for?
It's where in any like really deep like spiritual community that you go to. Like, I lived in Austin for a few months last year, and it was exactly like that. It was like if FFS was a city, it would be Austin.
Really?
Yeah. Well, parts of Austin, right? And like there's something every weekend, which I'm just being a grumpy old man, but like, yeah. It's good. It's good. It's definitely a good thing. We know we need more breathworks, not less.
Well, I haven't seen maybe one breathwork spot in Carlsbad. It has like the cold plunge, the breathing meditation, the cold plunge, and the sauna.
Nice.
And the red light. And that's like the only place where I've seen breathing techniques, but I don't know where it is around here.
Well, maybe I'll have to do a breathwork.
Yes,
yeah.
You have a lot of things to do before you go to Phoenix.
I'm talking to a studio owner right now. We're trying to negotiate and see if I can get some dates planned to have like workshops, yoga classes, and perhaps it sounds like breath work. I should do a breath work. So before I go.
Wow.
So yeah, if that comes through, I'll definitely let you know.
I would love to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question.
Sure.
When you were gone, we've talked about you coming on the show, and then I'm like, well, after you have your experience, because that's going to be interesting. You did some sort of significant costume thing that had a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
Explain that, because I'm like, what is he doing? Like, I knew there was a whole story to it, so I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so Caitlin from Fit for Service, she's one of the coaches. I love her so much. She's amazing. She came up with this idea because the whole each like course, if you will, of Fit for Service has like a different like backbone.
Yeah.
Like, so last year, the first trimester was the masculine. The second trimester was the feminine. The third trimester was divine union. So the balancing the masculine and the feminine. So I went to the third one. This year, I don't know what they did before, but the one that I went to was about the shadow.
Shadow work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were challenged with this idea of make a costume that represents your shadow self. Like specifically your shadow self. Now it could be like I saw a guy that was like a mob boss, he went as like a mob boss because it's like he has that in him that comes out, and then but then there's also like people also interpret it like this bad side of you that comes out sometimes. People express in that way, but also people also expressed it as like this shadow that lives inside of you that you repress.
Whoa.
And so they express that too.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was really cool to see all the costumes. Now I went as the shadow. Like I went as the devil. Mm-hmm. And I kept trying to think of how to personalize it, because that was the challenge, was to personalize it, right? If you go as the devil, it's just the devil. It's not like, like it's not my shadow. It's everyone's shadow. Mm-hmm. But I just couldn't get it off my mind. It was like we were talking about, like it was in my thought womb. I just had to do it. So I sent it, and yeah, I went full like red body paint. I had these like horns. I wore a pentagram, and it was honestly, that was probably the most transformational part of this Fit for Service, was because, so shadow work, basically what it is like when you when you identify and you say hello to your shadow and you even give it a name, then you're familiar with it. You acknowledge that it exists in you, and you're familiarizing yourself with it. So when he or she says hi, you can recognize it, right? Versus most people repress their shadow, don't want to look at their ugly side, want to do everything that they can to get rid of that side, which is impossible. And then because of that, because they never actually identify it, they never say, this is it, right? It can rule them from behind, right? In a sneaky, slithery way, because it's like camouflage. You never actually identify it, so you don't really know that it's there.
Yeah.
So shadow work is basically saying hello to your shadow sides, right? And identifying them and saying hello, and actually befriending them, right? And through that way, you actually gain better control over it, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And go ahead.
So what kind of questions would you ask yourself to try to find out who your own personal shadow is?
Look at the sides you don't want to look at. Look at the sides of yourself you don't want to look at. Look at the sides of yourself that you try to repress. Look at the sides of yourself that come out when you're triggered. Those are your shadows, right? Like and also look at, like the party that wants to fight, like the party that wants to fuck, the party that wants to, like just dominate the world, like take over and be the biggest thing, like like that party that's like hungry for stuff, like look at those things, and then know that it's not bad to want to do those things, right? Whether you act on them or not is different, but like, yeah, everybody wants to eat, everybody wants to have sex, everybody wants a cave that is theirs, and so those things aren't inherently bad, and even anger isn't inherently bad. Anger is a strong, if you use your emotions as a compass, right? Your emotions are telling you to go somewhere. If you're being angered by something, it's probably because you should look at that thing, right? It's trying to tell you something and you're not getting it. That's why you keep getting angry over it. And so you either need to try to change what you can change, or get away from it, or just, if you can't do either one of those things, learn how to tolerate it, but there's something in there that's not adding up. That's why you're experiencing so much emotion around it. Yeah.
So it kind of is like right in front of our face most of the time if we actually face it.
Yes.
And we will sometimes shame will keep us from facing that demon, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because bringing it up would make it real, and it being real would make us hate ourselves for ever having these kind of things.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 You have to acknowledge it, and most people don't want to make that first step,
Yeah. But it's like we're a concoction of ego and spirit.
That's right.
Flesh and spirit.
Yes.
And we only focus on the good we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we've realized we're not a lot of good, we'll be like, whatever. I'm just hard. I'm just like, I don't care about anyone. I don't love anyone. I don't need anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But that balance of understanding, no, you're a little bit of both. Even those perfect, maybe religious ones that are like, we're always good. We're always good. Like, no, pride.
Right.
Be careful.
Yeah. You can't, like, this physical body confines us. By definition, we are not spirit. We exist as both animal and spirit, right? Like you said, flesh and spirit, right? On the opposite ends. But like, no matter how much meditation you do, no matter how much fasting you do, no matter how virtuously you try to live your life, you will never attain full spirit. You can't. You have to feed this body. And so if you just, because if you're, all right, it's like animal and spirit, right? Negative and positive, right? I studied, I don't know if you know this, but I have a pretty extensive background in science. I was going to be a doctor.
Whoa.
So yeah, I have a degree in biochemistry and I triple minored in math, physics, and biology.
Oh my gosh.
So in physics, a negative charge, and then in magnetism, negativity pulls the magnetism from the positive source. Mm-hmm. So negative doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means it's the consumer. It's pulling things in, right? Positive is the donor. It's giving things. So if you think about it like that, and you label the flesh as negative because it needs, and the spirit as the positive because that's the part that wants to give, right? Well, you can't ever be full just positive. You can't only be positive. You can't only give, because at some point you have to eat, right? And that eating is negative. It's a consuming thing, right? And you can't be negative all the time either. You can't just live for the flesh, because that's not fulfilling, right? If you're just living for the flesh, like, you're not answering the call to improve yourself, right? To help out people that are better than you, or to better other people, to elevate yourself, right? Oh my God, he said it.
I know. Like, there's the word.
But like, that call is there for all of us, you know? And so like, you can't exist on either side of the spectrum, right? And so there's a balancing game that you have to play, right? So you can't just like say, like, when I was really first in like my yoga, like, you could go back to my Facebook and like during like 2016, 2017, I was literally only posting like nonstop about being love and light, like constantly being like a positive thing, like constantly giving and just being a beacon, you know? And it's bullshit. It's impossible. You can't only be positive. You have to take at some point. That's the game. That's this confines you to that. And it's awesome. It's perfect. Because if you're just spirit, it's boring. They say God like made man and women because God wanted to experience themselves. There's this guy I'm really following right now. His name is Rob Edward Grant. And he talks about, like, if you are limitless, boundless, like, what better game for yourself to play than to make yourself limited?
Yeah.
Right?
Dang.
Yeah. And so that's what we are. And it's a pretty, if you believe, and I strongly believe this, that we are consciousness experiencing itself. Like, we come from the same consciousness. I felt it on Bufo. Like, everyone comes from the same place. I mean, they talk about it in every religious text too. Yeah. Like, we come from the same place. We go back to that same place when we die. Like, it's just, we're like little slivers of that, right? Expressing, and we're just experiencing itself. Like, the same consciousness that's in you, keeping your body alive, thinking about stuff, is the same consciousness in me. It's just different flavored, right? And so we are consciousness experiencing itself. And so they say, like, God wanted to experience himself or herself. And so God made us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
I know, right?
I wonder if, as him being spirit, if it was how he expected us to navigate the flesh.
Yeah. For sure.
As it being 50% of us.
Exactly. That's what makes our lives, that's what makes being a human awesome, is because it's not just like autopilot, go eat, go fuck, go to sleep, like a lion or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's also not like, like I'm just gonna meditate all day. Like that's not living a life fully either, right? Because if you go through your whole life and you never had some bomb ass dessert or something like that, like I feel sorry for you. Like if you went through your whole life and never had a chicken nugget, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and chicken nuggets are awful, right? Yeah. They're awful for the environment, but it's good. It's a chicken nugget. It's awesome. Like have a chicken nugget, like, or whatever. Don't clip that part, okay? But like, you know, enjoy life, enjoy beer, enjoy these things, enjoy sex, enjoy that. Like that's part of it being here. If you go your whole life never having done any of that, I feel bad for you. Now, most of us in Western society exist too much. You're eating too many chicken nuggets. Okay, calm down on the chicken nuggets. All right, you're drinking too much. That's the issue, right? We'll tackle the eat a chicken nugget whenever everyone's just meditating way too much. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, come back down, buddy. But that's not where we're at right now. That's not our problem. Our problem is people are way too ego driven. People are way too trying to please themselves. They're trying to make it so that life is constantly pleasant, you know? And it's just not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where I'm learning when it comes to like different people or being someone that has a platform to share. Like there is no, oh, you have to do this and that, and you're not allowed to do this because this is going to lead to a very destructive lifestyle. But it's also not like, just do what feels good. Do what feels right. It's like once you connect with someone, you actually realize, okay, actually it looks like you need to go out some. You need to go to a party and drop your shoulders and stop thinking about everything you have to do and realize that there's a whole nother world out there and you're doing great right now. Or someone else who's maybe been addicted to something their whole life. It's like, how about you do an ice bath and go on a run, cleanse for a day and see how your body feels.
Yes.
Two different advice.
Yes.
But that's just like, that's the journey of it. We're little puzzle pieces.
Absolutely. Like you just touched on like the difference between like order and fluidity, which is the difference between masculine energy and feminine energy.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of the things I asked is, what do you think is the primary difference between male and female or the feminine and the masculine?
Masculine and feminine is easier to do because male and female, it's I have masculine and feminine energy in me, and so do you. And the difference is how I'm expressing on a given moment. So it's a lot. That's like a big multivariable equation. Masculine energy and feminine energy is way easier to define. Masculine energy, I like to think of it like it's a line, and feminine energy is a circle. So masculine energy is honestly really beautifully depicted by like a sperm cell. A sperm cell knows where it's going, and then it just swims its little butt as fast as it can to get there, right? That's what masculine energy is. It's like, I'm going to this thing. I have this thing I need to do. Now I need to go. It's a line, right? It's rigid, right? It's point A to point B. Feminine energy is the egg, okay? The egg is a circle, and it just sits there, and it's beautiful, and it's vibing, and it's attracting, and it, you know, and it's youthful and all that stuff. And one day a sperm cell is going to come, you know, maybe, because a lot of, you know, eggs don't go fertilized, right? And then it's gonna like, you know, there's like a binding practice that happens, and then eventually it's conception, right? So like the feminine is flow. The feminine is wavy, the feminine is intuitive, the masculine is rigid, structured, discipline. That's masculine. Masculine is order, feminine is chaos, right? Like the feminine in her purest form is chaos, right? And the masculine in its purest form is just super rigid, like OCD level rigid. Now, neither one of those is going to be fun to live in, right? Like I don't want to live constantly in order, like do everything. I got to do my ice bath at 6:00. Then I got to do my meditation. I got to go to yoga. After yoga, I got to jujitsu, right? Or whatever. Like, got to do that. No, that's not a way to live life. But also living life isn't just like, yeah, I'm just going to vibe and just kind of see where the day takes me.
Just going to vibe.
Like, that's not fun, you know? And so that's, I forget how you brought that up. Like, but that's the difference, you know? And so our job, just like our job is trying to balance between being flesh and spirit, our job is also trying to balance between discipline and fluidity, freedom, intuition, you know?
So you think it is significant for each being to have both male and female in their life, not just in a relational term, but in like you have the feminine lessons to teach me or to imprint on me so I can have it, or the masculine to teach me guidance and structure, not for relationship, but so I can have it and apply those skills and principles into my own life and be a more balanced yin yang, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So when you actually bring it into the context of like dating, there are certain things that like just across the board are generally attractive to the opposite sex, right? Like certain thing, and also like I would argue that the vast majority of us, like if you see like negative, positive, feminine, masculine, right? That's the spectrum, right? I'd say like on average, like the average woman like is probably like 70 to 80% feminine. The average man is 78% masculine, you know? And so there's just certain things that we will always, the most of us, okay, I'm not talking about people that are not like gender normal, right? Yeah. But like everyone else, for all the rest of us that are gender normal, which is a lot of people, we're just always going to find certain things attractive in the opposite sex. Like for me, like I like long hair. I like curvy body, like that, you know. I like women that are gentle. I like women that are calm. I like women, that's what I like. And then women like men that like can set boundaries, right? Women like men that follow through with what they're gonna say, right? And those are just two ridiculously simple like examples. But yeah, you and so like the issue that we're seeing now is like men don't really know how to be men anymore, right? A lot of us. And then women are overcompensating because there's a lack of masculinity. So women are becoming more masculine, and then that's turning the men off. And so, but women don't feel safe enough to, I don't want to say regress because that's not the right word, but like go retreat basically back into their femininity, because women occupy the masculine when they're unsafe. When they're unsafe, they occupy the masculine. Men, like we talked about earlier at the beginning of the podcast, it's one of our main jobs is to make sure our women are safe. Yes. Right? And so, but women can't feel safe with a man that doesn't have good boundaries, doesn't have good discipline, doesn't do the things that he says he's going to do. Right? Integrity, accountability, right? And so you see, so it's like this weird game because, you know, men want feminine women, but men aren't like stepping into their masculine enough to allow women to feel safe enough to retreat back into their femininity. So it's this weird thing, but also men have been basically, I mean, men have been pieces of shit for a long time for sure, but like my generation it's been beaten into, like, we've been born to feel innately bad for being men. And so we want to do all these things that, like, we want to beat our chests and fucking, you know, but like we're shamed out of it. We've viewed that as toxic, and that's not us. I don't do that. I'm not that kind of man.
Yeah.
And so, but really though, I would venture and say we want to do that so bad. Like, we want to do that so bad. And that's why I think men's work is the medicine right now. Like, because women y'all have had your revolution. Like, if a woman is having trouble, you got this hotline, that hotline, you know, like, you're good, right?
Yeah. Men
don't really have that, right? And when we do say we're in trouble, people laugh, you know? And and women have tried for so long to help save us, right? And it just hasn't worked, you know? And the only people that can save men is men. And so this is the medicine. It's like, we have to come together, hold each other accountability, define what masculine is, and know that, like one of the guys in my men's group, he always argues with me, like, yeah, I don't give into this notion that, like, men have to always be masculine and women have to always be feminine. And it's like, I've literally never said that once. I'm a yoga teacher. I like to dance. I like to sing. I'm an artist. Like, you don't think I know how to get in touch with my feminine? My feminine, it doesn't make me a pussy. It means I can flow. It means I can move seamlessly from one thing to the next. It means I have intuition. And it means I can receive. I can receive a compliment. I'm ready to receive love. Right? That's to me, that's like a healthy, masculine, dominant, feminine. Is someone that can do that. Right? I'm never once saying you have to just be rigid all the time. Who the fuck wants to hang out with that guy?
Yeah.
You know, like, I love Jordan B. Peterson.
Me too.
I love him, but, like, you know, aside from lectures and stuff, I can't imagine, like, having a beer with the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's actually very true.
It's just,
he doesn't drink beer either. He probably just meat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't drink right now anyway. But I was just saying, like, just to, like, sit and bullshit with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he has his moments where he's super funny and stuff, but, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't really, like, I'm full of shit. I would totally love to have a beer with Jordan B. Peterson.
Water.
Yeah, or water or whatever. Yeah, I would, of course. But, like, you know, I also don't want to hang out with, I don't know, Bert Kreischer. Do you know him? Mm-mm. He's in, like, the Joe Rogan family. He's one of the, like, comedians, and he's just basically this big, like, alcoholic partier, like, nonstop just partying. He's a wreck. I mean, but he's super successful and people love him. But, like, I wouldn't really, you know, I like to be in between, or, like,
so flow. You'd like to have a beer with Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
He's my biggest role model.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because he would be able to, like, motivate, inspire, have a plan
when the
to
time
save
calls.
the world. When the time calls.
But he's can also sit there and shoot the shit.
Yeah. He's I seen his lives, his comedy show.
Really?
I went in person. It was just, like, beautiful. I'm like, you're a genius.
Yeah.
He is a genius.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's had a really big impact on me too, from when I was your age. Yeah. Yes. Like, know the way broadly and see it in all things. Yeah. That's something, I think he has it tattooed on himself.
Say that again?
Know the way broadly and see it in all things. I think it's the Japanese samurai guy, Miyamoto Musashi or something. I have this book. I should know his name. But anyway, that's I think about that all the time. Know the way broadly and see it in all things. It means, to me, if something is true here, it's true everywhere. So, like, something in jiu-jitsu, like, if you learn an axiom, like, an axiom is like a outstanding principle. Like, it's a principle that's like, this is true no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? If you can extract one of those, you can probably apply it to somewhere else. And that's why yoga is so profound, because when you're watching yourself practice, which you learn to do after consistent practices, you see how you react to stuff, and then you can observe that and say, oh, I did this in yoga class. Okay, what yoga is, you want me to tell you a big secret?
Yes.
Yoga is a microcosm. A yoga class is a microcosm of life and death. The whole thing. And
wow.
Yeah, and because you start in child's pose, which is where you were born. You go through life, and then it ends in shavasana, which is corpse pose.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you warm up, you're doing your cat-cows in the beginning. Yeah, I mean, and then balancing poses come later, and yeah, exactly. It's like, it's a microcosm. And also another axiom, another truth that's like fundamentally true is how you do one thing is how you do all things. Right? And so how you practice yoga from the time you sign up for a class, from how you grab your mat, how you get to your car, how you drive, how you get there, where you put your mat, what you do before class starts. Do you focus on yourself? Do you sit there and don't say anything to anybody? Do you get a practice in? Do you talk to people? Do you switch it up from day to day? Then how do you practice yoga? Are you doing exactly what the teacher says today? Are you switching it up? Whatever it is. And then you can learn about yourself and say, okay, if this is true here, then it's probably true in way more other ways that I haven't seen yet. But the yoga exposes it to you, right? The yoga shows you, because you have to look at it, because you're trying to. And what's cool about yoga is like, it's not just your mind that's doing something. Like if you're writing something, like an idea down, and you're philosophizing, you're just using your mind and like your hand, right? Like, but you're not doing the idea.
Yeah.
With your body, right? And so yoga, like, you're doing it with your body, and there's something really profound about that. And I think it just exposes your like quote unquote weaknesses a little bit more.
But you're still mindful of your mind like the whole time.
The whole time.
No other practices do that. And like, I really like Coach Murph's style, because at the end of class he'll say a message, or drilling, he'll just say something like super deep, and that's why I do it. I don't just do it because I like to fight and stuff. Like, it does something good for my mind. But yoga and different principles and practices, they'll be like, you don't have to fight it. You're here to practice getting better every moment. And so when they say those things, it is a reminder for me, because I'm like, you're right, I do want to just look the best, try my best. I'd rather fall than not get this handstand, or than not try the handstand.
Yes.
So they're like, listen to your body. Your body doesn't lie to you. If you can try it. If your body's telling you to go back to child's pose, then just hang out there. It's your practice. CrossFit doesn't do that.
No.
Boxing doesn't do that. No HIIT strength classes tells you to sit with your body. If you feel like it's time to stop for a bit, then go ahead and rest, or do one more vinyasa, whatever.
Right.
And I think that's why I have this attraction, because I've been moving my whole life. I've been physical in one way or another my whole life. But yoga is like, oh, I'm acknowledging my consciousness and my spirit, and I'm not fighting myself or the mind of others, where I'm trying to like win. In CrossFit, it's about like winning.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to do the workout of the day as fast as possible, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yoga, it's like, oh, this is just you and you.
Yep.
And I'm like, it is, and that's life.
Yep.
And it's life, but if you can help others, then you're getting better.
Yes. Yeah. Joe Rogan said it like, yoga is a martial art, but instead of you versus someone else, it's you versus you, and it's true. Like, when I get my studio, it's gonna be the most badass studio like on the planet.
I cannot wait to visit it.
It's gonna be badass. Like, and when have you ever heard someone describe a yoga studio as badass?
Never in my life.
Exactly. So yeah, and it's gonna be very martial arts influenced.
Dang.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be a very masculine style of yoga, and that doesn't mean men, but it means like it's gonna be rigid. It's gonna be defined. It's gonna be, I don't like rigid. That's like not a good word, but like it's gonna be very strict and orderly, and there will be room for feminine and stuff too. But yeah. and that also your point, like that's one of the other like spectrum balancing games that we have to play, that it's beautifully exposed in yoga. It's like, am I trying too hard, right? Am I performing because someone else is watching, right? Am I trying too hard because my ego handstands? I don't want to fall, right? Or, and then, so the game, that's usually the first game, is like, okay, I need to learn how to take it down a notch. Then after you learn how to take it down a notch, you're like, okay, I feel like I'm kind of taking it too easy. I might be taking too many child's poses, and I'm way too chill about it, you know? And so that's the next level. It's like, now I'm not really trying hard enough, you know? And then so you're just constantly balancing. So you like, you want to balance between performing and am I trying to prove something?
Whoa.
And versus I'm not actually trying hard enough. I'm not giving it my best, my genuine best.
Dang, that is literally life. I actually had that realization this morning. It's like if I have someone in my life that wants the best for me and I realize that, and then I look up to them, I will do what I can to impress them. I will perform for them. And it happens, and I started to realize every single person I look up to, I want to impress them to the point where I'll like not tell them certain things I did, or want to be private about certain things, so that they'll be like, oh, good job, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But if I like can't impress them, then I don't want them to know what I'm doing, which is the opposite. You know, like you said, hanging out in child's pose too long, where you're not really pushing yourself to what you're capable of. But it's like, it's not about performing, and it's not about, I don't want to impress you because I can't completely, but finding that like centered balance, and not doing anything to perform, to impress people, but doing it because, back to the beginning, it's your mission. It's what you know you're supposed to do. And I think if we tap into our heart, our mind, our spirit, we all have a mission of what we're supposed to do. And the whole goal is to get rid of all those distractions and voices and feelings of unworthiness, so we can quite simply do what we know we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is actually very alive for me. I'm gonna start posting on social media again, which I'm excited about. Yeah, I'm gonna get on like the motivational hype. This is a really cool kickoff for that, actually. Oh, yeah. And like so I bought this like red journal, and in my red journal is where I put all my like polished ideas, like my like, and like one of the ideas is like, it kind of builds off of what you just said. Like you know what you want to do, you know what you're supposed to do, you're just getting in your way, right? And so I think it's the God / the universe / source / the creator, like whatever you want to call it, is like telling you to do something. It's communicating to do something, but you, because you don't feel it's realistic, or you feel like you might be stupid, you know, you don't do it, right? You doubt yourself. You're getting in your way. And the other truth is like to take comfort in the fact that the thing that you're gonna do, that's you're being told to do, if you view it that way, isn't actually like, I think another reason that we don't actually follow through is because we think like, okay, if I do this, what if it doesn't, like, what if my life doesn't change, and like what if this isn't my magnum opus? What if this isn't my like best creation? Like, what if this isn't the reason that I'm here, right? When the truth is, it's probably not. But what it is it's a stepping stone to get to the real thing that you're supposed to get after. But unless you do the first step, which is what's happening to you right now, unless you take that, you're never going to know what your ultimate step is. Because Steve Jobs said in his Stanford graduation speech, it's changed my life. It's changed my life when I first heard it at De Anza College like 10 years ago. Like, he said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking back. And he's basically referring to like, he took a calligraphy class out of nowhere. Like, he was just drawn to calligraphy, and he took a calligraphy class. And like during his class, he's like, why the fuck am I taking calligraphy? But he did it, and he enjoyed it. And he explains that later on down the line, that class was instrumental to him coming up with like the characters that you see on a screen, like how characters are written on a screen. Like if he didn't take that class, it wouldn't have come out the way that it did. And so he said, yeah, I don't know why I took that class, but it ended up with a big payout. And there's no conceivable way, if I was standing in the before, that I could figure this out. Right?
Yeah.
And so you that's why it's like, you pursue what's interesting to you. Like for me right now, what's really alive is jiu-jitsu. Like I'll probably never ever make a cent from jiu-jitsu. Like, and I'm like,
I disagree with that for some reason with your yoga studio plans.
Yeah,
like,
I do too.
That's
actually,
not true.
I was like, wait a second, I got ideas, but like,
yep, there it is.
I mean, I'll never be like Gordon Ryan, like, or like that is like way out of the realm of possibility. You know what I mean? Like what? It's not even.
Assuming Gordon Ryan's a jiu-jitsu person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you don't know Gordon Ryan?
Nope.
Oh God. Okay. Gordon Ryan is like the best, number one, undisputed no-gi practitioner of all time. Like no one has beaten, like no one has, like, he's like, it's like 62 matches undefeated. Like he wins ADCC every time, every 2 years. Like, yeah, he's the guy. Yeah, he's like the guy. Like just mollywops like other world champions. Like he tapped I'm blanking on his name. Cyborg, who's this gorilla of a Brazilian.
Okay. Cyborg came to San Jose.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Cyborg's
Wait
actually.
a minute. No, he didn't. BJ Penn did.
Yeah.
See, I shouldn't say names. I really don't know enough to speak on behalf.
Yeah, BJ Penn was here. He's also a legend. But he was MMA. Yeah. Not just straight jiu-jitsu. He did a lot of jiu-jitsu too, but he was UFC was where he was made his thing. Yeah. But yeah, Cyborg's just this gorilla of a Brazilian, and like Gordon Ryan tapped him in like 12 seconds. Yeah. Anyway, like he also, like when you're at that level, like those kind of guys. First of all, I'm 34, like just starting basically. Like just starting. These guys like have been
starting jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. These guys have been on the mat since they were kids. You know what I mean? They're already black belts. I got years to go before I'm even a black belt. Before I'm even, you know what I mean? And even then, yeah. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm very called to jiu-jitsu right now. Like I'm obsessed. And I don't know what's going to happen. Trying to figure it out is pointless, and it's just agonizing. But if I trust that the dots will connect looking backward, and I just follow what is calling me right now, then everything will be all right. Yeah. Yeah.
The heart, the mind, it doesn't lie. Like it'll guide you to what you need to do. It's just like if you can listen to that. Like, why is it that everyone in jiu-jitsu is like kind of like-minded?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's where I met you.
Yeah.
We just one time, I don't even know what we talked about. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting him on my podcast. Without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm doing that podcast. Yeah. Well, jiu-jitsu, the culture of jiu-jitsu is really cool. First of all, like 90% of jiu-jitsu players like smoke weed. So yeah, like tons of people that like, or at least they're cool with it, you know?
I just realized that actually.
Yeah, like everyone. It's crazy. Like, yeah. And so and then there's a lot of cool things about that culture. You know, like if you're down with cannabis, like you're probably a little more lax on things. You're probably more vibey about stuff.
You deep think about everything. Yeah. Everything's a story or a picture or a metaphor.
You're intellectual. Yeah, exactly. So that's part of it. Also, striking is very point A to point B. It's like, you know, that's a strike. Yeah. It's just, and it's the same. It's like the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Right? Practice this right kick. Practice this right kick. Practice this right kick. Now left kick, left kick, left kick. You know what I mean? You're straight. your right, your left. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just the same jiu-jitsu. Like,
Yeah.
figure
And
it out.
you have to be kind of dumb to do it. Like, what's wrong with your elbow right now?
Yeah, it's hurt. My elbows
hurt.
really hurt. Yeah.
You don't really know why. When people asked you yesterday, you're just like, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach was like, what happened? I was like, jiu-jitsu happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
like as soon as you get injured, like I have a friend who, this is his like third time being injured in the past 5 or 6 months. I've been doing jiu-jitsu because of jiu-jitsu. Like he's been getting injured and he's out for like a month, and as soon as he gets better, he gets back in, and I think his knee just healed. And
you're talking about Derek, huh?
Okay, yeah, Derek. Freaking Derek, he's crazy. And then he's just like, I need to stop taking it so hard. But it's jiu-jitsu, so I have to.
Right.
And it's like, you got to be kind of crazy because you find something so worth putting it all out there for. Just like giving your all.
Yeah.
And people don't find that. People don't find something so worth going through that kind of pain for. Like quite literally for Derek.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how to answer this because I used to view, like, when I was just dabbling in jiu-jitsu, I was like, yeah, like, I want to learn, but, like, I don't want to be like those people, which is, like, people that are just, like, super, like, jiu-jitsu is life. You know, I was like, I'll never get to that. You know, like, watch out. Because there is definitely, like, a point where we actually were talking about this earlier. There's a point where, like, doing the healthy thing becomes another just, like addiction, you know? And, like going, I probably hundreds of times I've gone to the gym when I damn well should have been doing something else, you know? But, no, it's good for me, you know? I'm doing this because I'm healthy. And it's like, actually, you're plenty... Your special bar is already maxed out over here in this, like, you know, or your skill level is already maxed out. Now you need to go feed these other meters.
That's my problem right now.
Yeah. So like the trick with jiu-jitsu, it's just like those other things. Like, don't, especially because we aren't gonna ever be like, I mean, maybe you're still young, but like I'm never gonna be like a crazy, like, competitor, famous person like that. Not even close. So take comfort in that and be like, you know what? Like, I don't have to train every day. Just chill. Like, I'm in this for life. Like, I mean, things might change, but, like, the way I see it now, I will train jiu-jitsu forever. So I have the rest of my life. I'm in no hurry. You know, move with the speed of life. Don't try to outpace life. You know? Yeah. So
that's, like, I feel like a big reminder for everyone that does jiu-jitsu. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
It's going to be there. Especially if you love it. It's going to be there when you're freaking old. Right now, every day this week. But once next week, which is fine. Because once you get into it, like, I need to sleep. I'm sleep deprived, like, all the time. But I'm not skipping jiu-jitsu, and I can't skip work. So
yeah,
nothing's going to give.
Yeah.
But it's like, Hannah, jiu-jitsu's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a good way to measure that is just, how's your body? You know, my elbows, I went to practice yesterday, even though, like, and that's kind of dumb. It's like, dude, I don't regret it, but I'm probably not going to go today as much as it hurts, you know, because it's no-gi. It's my favorite. Yeah. But, like, I'm probably not going to go. I just need to chill. And you know what? I actually do have other things I got to take care of anyway, you know? And like you said, it's not going anywhere. Yeah. You know? So just not letting things, in that way, I'm tapping into my feminine. I'm saying, yo, the vibe isn't here right now. The vibe is over here. Let's go over here. That's the feminine, right? Versus, I got to train jiu-jitsu every day. That's the masculine. Yeah. You know? And you need both.
I love that comparison.
Yeah, because if I'm just like, I'll go when I feel like it, you'll never go. You'll never go. You know? Yeah. So you do need, like, that structure. But jiu-jitsu is fun.
Yeah, the feminine and the masculine is an evolving understanding in my mind. and in my heart, and just changing the realization that you are not, if you're male, you're not masculine, just masculine.
Right.
You're 70%, 75, 80.
According to Ben Wexler. Yeah. My approximation.
Well, I agree with that though. And as like a female, something I'm so mindful of and self-conscious of, and I'm trying to be mindful of it versus like almost insecure, is how I could lean more masculine. So understanding that the feminine is more than a look and aura of what you do with your time, but like it's a form of thinking. It's an essence. It's something that we're meant to balance with the masculine.
So, okay, where would you put yourself on the scale? You think you're underdeveloped and you're masculine?
Over.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
All right. I was kind of like, oh girl, put on the brakes. Like, you're good. You're like, you got your podcast. You're doing jujitsu. Like, jujitsu's already not a very feminine thing. But actually, as far as martial arts go, as far as learning how to kill people, jujitsu is like the most feminine because it's flowy.
Yeah, and
very flowy.
Yeah,
you know?
And like, if you're really being realistic here, jujitsu is the best form of self-defense because you learn how to defend yourself in the most realistic, threatening point of like situation for a female.
For you, for sure.
For a female.
Yeah, you can just wrap them up in the guard.
Exactly.
Or whatever, yeah.
A guy, like, I feel this is harsh to go into, but like rape, that's the worst thing that'll happen to women unless they immediately get killed.
It's good to talk about because that's a large, like, lots of jiu-jitsu self-defense classes are women self-defense classes specifically targeted for this.
Yeah.
So.
And like Andrew Tate, is that his name?
Yep.
Andrew's his name?
Yeah.
That threw me off for a sec. Well, he was saying like, well, women that do self-defense, it's like a guy's gonna beat you if he's gonna beat you. And I'm like, that's true because a male's strength's very different than a female's. But in that situation, I would rather know how to do something than freezing up because a man is that close to me and not being able to do anything to escape. If I die that way, which I will not, I would want to die with a fight in me and a damage on his body. Like
warrior woman.
Yeah, but that's how every female should kind of see it. Like face the reality that you are the weaker gender.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Don't just be like sheep to the slaughter. Yeah.
Die trying.
Yeah.
Die fighting. Die like giving your all to the very last moment and second possible.
I like that. Yeah. Like I'm definitely very attracted to women that are like proactive about like fitness and like that kind of thing. And like, and martial arts even to a degree. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Like women get into martial arts, please. Do the world a favor. It's so good.
There is, do you know the brand Shoya Roll?
Shoya Roll, yeah.
Shoya Roll.
Shoya, yeah, I do know.
Okay, yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, they post this stuff every so often on Instagram, and it's called the Jiu-Jitsu tapes, and like
I love.
And they're the best.
Yeah.
They're the best. People call and they just leave. Basically, it's an answering machine, and people just leave a message and then hang up. That's all it is. And then Shoya Roll takes it and then like posts it. They repost it basically. Well, I just saw one today that was a chick and she was posting on there, and I think she's a blue or a purple. I think she's a purple belt, and she's basically like, yo, like the men have no idea how lucky it is because y'all have like hella black belts that you can just go up against. You know, I obviously don't go up against black belts because I'm a white belt. That would be stupid. But like if I was a purple belt, that's where you're going. You're well on your way to black belt. And so she was like, yeah, but like for me, like I can't go hard with a girl because there's not any women black belts. They're like so rare.
The thing is, they stop as blue belts or purple belts or something. I think that was what I've been hearing.
Most people stop at blue belt. Yeah. So in jiu-jitsu, there's something called blue and through, which is people get their blue belt and disappear. Like it's a very common phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really exist in other martial arts. It's like, it's just jiu-jitsu. And like, I've even heard like that instructors will even hold people off for their blue belt because they think that they're just going to quit. You know? Yeah. Like it's not, yeah. So to your point, it's not just women. I think it's just jiu-jitsu. It is hard to find black belts. You know what? Like there's probably maybe 1% of the population practice jiu-jitsu. Probably less. Like out of 100 people, how many practice jiu-jitsu? Maybe 1.
Maybe 2. I think it got a little bit more popular lately.
I think you just hang out with a lot of people that do lots of
This
jiu-jitsu.
is true. We'll say one.
So you're skewed a little bit.
Yeah.
Your perspective is skewed a little bit.
That's funny.
But of all the people that practice jiu-jitsu, how many are black belts? Less, probably 1%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like black belts are just really, really hard to find in general. You know, I have 1 black belt in 2. We got a second one now, and he's there kind of sometimes. He's a full-on dad. He's not in there like every day. He's not one of the coaches. Mm-hmm. But I have 1 black belt in my life. You know what I mean? Like, you do too. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
You're right. I do know a lot of jiu-jitsu people now. Yeah. So probably like 4.
Okay. That you're like training with?
No, that I know.
Yeah. Okay. I know like black belts.
That I train with, just Coach Murph.
Yeah. So like when we go to practice, we have 1 black belt in the room.
Like a lot of white belts.
Yeah, and a lot of white belts, some blue belts, you know, some purples, barely any browns. Mm-hmm. And it just is rare, you know. But either way, like, yeah, like learn jujitsu. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah, and what it really is like pushing your body to do more of what it's meant to do or more of what it wants. Like if once you start to see it differently, you have the mind to control certain things, like what you put in your body and what you do to your body and how you treat others, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So if it's like your brain is just in there hanging out, it's not doing the work. Your brain is telling you to do the work. Therefore, like it wants to fight, especially men. Like you guys have so much energy and aggression to let out. Women are so naturally strong. Like they have this innate nature or innate strength because maybe they can give birth to children is what I think. But like do those things. Working out is awesome. But just like yoga, I think jiu-jitsu also has this mental, spiritual, like consciousness to it. Yeah. Where
it's very philosophical.
Yeah, a white belt can be a spaz, and I'm barely kind of maybe hopefully getting out of my spazzy state, and then it's like slow down, like think out. There's always another option. Flow into the next movement. Versus you're getting tired. Well, keep pushing yourself. Where it like that's most forms of fitness, and that's why like I found love in that more than like maybe just lifting the whole week. Yeah, just not the same.
Yeah, and also like. Yeah, striking too. To that point, it's like you're tired. Keep going. You got hit in the head. Keep going. You know. Yeah. There is no real other way. You know. In jiu-jitsu, yeah, it's like stop. You know, like squirming isn't always gonna get you out. You know what I mean? Just moving unnecessarily. You have to kind of calm down and try to figure it out. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I think. I wanted to ask you. You said you think that women are innately strong because they have the capacity to give birth. Yes. So what do you mean, like, by innately strong? Like, obviously not physically.
Well, yesterday, I was rolling with someone, and I was like, "Dang, you're strong." I was like, "Oh my gosh, you are so strong." And she's like,
"The white chick?"
Yeah. And I was like, she was like, "Yeah, I know. I've been told that, but I haven't been like physically active. I haven't trained for anything my whole life. I just gave birth to kids." And Coach Rivers, I'm like, "I think I need to have kids, like for this strength, because if she hasn't been training and she's that strong, like in my opinion, like, well, A plus B equals this kind of strength. Like women are like warriors, and that's why they should be protected, because they already like can do this insanely painful thing and get out of it that which life is all about, recreating and multiplying and evolving as a world."
I love that. Yeah, that's super true. Yeah, like moms are like rooted. Like, yeah. When I used to teach at this like bougie school in Los Gatos, and yoga school, and like I remember the first time I rolled in there, and it's like this school in particular has lots of moms in it. And
wait, jiu-jitsu school?
No, yoga school.
Yoga school.
Yeah, no, don't learn jiu-jitsu from me, please God.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that detail.
Yeah, no, it's a yoga school, and yeah, I just remember, I'll never forget, like I'm walking in, you know, like people are already there, and like I turn around, and this lady is just lion eyes, just like looking at me. And she's like, not in a sexual way, in a very testing way. And it was very like, okay, buddy, like, you obviously don't really teach here that often. You're a man. Like, and she was testing me, you know? And it's like, I guess that's not true for all moms, because, you know, some mom, like, moms are just, I just remember like she's definitely a mom. Like, that's mama bear, like mama cub, like she's protecting her cubs. Like, I was like, okay, that's and I've seen it in other mothers as well, like that energy signature. But also when you said that too, it's like there's a lot of stuff clicks for men when we become fathers too.
If you're a good father.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, if you want to be the father. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I just had to throw that in there just to.
No, you're right.
I have some people where the dad just tapped out, and like I just think they're the worst kind of people.
Yeah.
A father that doesn't stay around, but the one that does, like.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I guess I like just really want to, like, not right now, like I'm not in a hurry, but like I want to be a dad. Like, I'm for sure gonna be a dad at some point, and so that just never like comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Like just like, all right, like I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that
As it
definitely
should never.
doesn't. You're right. Right.
No man should ever, no grace, not be there for their child if they contributed.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of crazy women out there though that like I would not want to raise kids with. Like, and like women, especially in today's society, will like pigeonhole men because they have everyone on their side, the government, like everything. And like if you don't do what I want you to do, then I'm going to leave. I'm going to take your stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So what I'm going to say is that like, don't have sex with people that you might like have to raise kids with, you know?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually a very simple piece of advice for this like secular world, hookup culture where everybody just are little bunnies.
Yeah.
Don't hook up with someone you wouldn't want to raise your children.
Yeah.
Because yes, they're probably not going to if you play your cards right and do your part. But if it happens, who's going to back out? The mom or the dad? Ideally, not the mother. She has to.
Well, she can't.
She can.
She's literally has to.
Yeah, like she's got to stick around till.
Yeah.
Because even the health stuff, if they don't get the breast milk for whatever reasons, there's a little bit of health issues that can.
Really? Wait, the kid? Or you're saying if
the baby
the woman
needs
doesn't,
breast milk.
Right. No, I know that, but I thought you were saying for a moment, I thought you were saying if the woman produces breast milk but doesn't give the breast milk, that she'll get sick. And I was like, whoa, that's a trip.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think more so if she doesn't produce milk and she has a baby, then she is sick. And that just means she has something going on that's preventing her from doing what she's supposed to do. Highly stressed, just in too much inflammation, but being able to produce milk is like just a healthy flow sign. Yeah.
I agree. Like there's definitely a lot of shitty dads that were like, peace, like I'm out of here, you know? But I think that the side that no one wants to look at is like women also need to be held accountable for some shit. And it's very easy in today's society, especially with like feminism and everything, to just bully men.
Oh, yeah.
To bully, like yes. I've seen women completely neuter men and emasculate them. And men go along with it because men, we're like us linear. We're line. We're point A to point B to point C to point T. We're like, okay, I'm here. I want to be there. These are the logical steps for me to get there. So let's do that. So, but women aren't like that. So when a woman communicates something to you, you almost like can't always take it like literally. You have to know what she's really saying underneath that. Yeah. That's the real message, right? So what happens is, like, for example, like the really common analogy is like married couples, like they'll stop having sex. And then so what does the woman say? I'm tired, right? That's like the number one, like I'm tired. She's not tired, dude. She's not fucking tired. Okay? She's unattracted to you. She has lost attraction to you. That's what she's actually saying. You know? But the male mind is like, oh, like, maybe I need to give her coffee or something. You know, it's like, you're not going to solve that problem that way.
Yeah.
And then, like, I was just reading, like, they'll go to counseling as a couple, and, like, they'll basically, like, it'll come out that, like, maybe he's not doing enough chores around the house. So then in his mind, he thinks, okay, well, if I do more chores, then I'll get sex. She will comply and give me sex. Well, now she's giving you sex out of her obligation, not because she wants to. And then when the moment comes after you do your little chores and you get your little boner, right? You're coming up and you're like, okay, like, when are we going to get down? Now she even more doesn't want to comply, and she feels even worse because she just drug you through family therapy and you did everything that she asked, and she still doesn't want to have sex with you. Does that make sense?
That's terrible.
Yeah, because you've made sex an obligation to her, right? That's not... Who wants to have sex out of obligation?
Is it not, though, once you're married?
No, that's why if you're gonna... I'm by no means an expert in monogamy, okay? But, like, I feel like if you're gonna make monogamy happen, you have to renew your love, like, every day. Like, every day. Like, you can't just sweep her off her feet when you're dating. You have to keep sweeping her off her feet when you're married. Every day. Every day you wake up and you come downstairs, she's in the kitchen, you come up behind her and give her a big hug, and, like, you gotta schmooze her up a little bit, make her feel like you're in love. And I think a lot of it does start with the men. Like, a lot of it does start with, like, we're the first link in the chain, where it's like, because if we show that, then a woman feels safe, then she'll do things for us that we want to do, right? Like, probably sex, you know? And also, like, the other thing, like, that happens is, like, women do this thing where, like, they'll tell you, women test men. Do you know about this?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I'm a woman.
All right. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't think I've ever actually had this conversation with a woman before.
Let's hear it.
Like, women test men consciously or subconsciously, and it never goes away. Men have this, like, false idea that one day, if I'm just good enough, then all these tests are going to go away. Nuh-uh, buddy. You will be tested by all the women in your life till you're dead. The tests never end. Right? And so, that being said, one of the ways that they'll test us is, like, they'll try to change us in a way. Like I don't like that hoodie on you, or, like, you know, like, I could see, like, a woman telling me, like, I need to wear more color. Like, that ain't... I'm literally black and white and sometimes gray forever. like that's... And if you try to... First of all, I don't think I don't think a relationship would ever make it that far with me. Because if she's trying to get me to change my outfit, she obviously isn't in love with who I am at all. But that could be an example, right? So, like... But here's the thing. If I were most men, if my partner said that, and I'd be like, okay, well, she wants this, okay? Because this is how men think. Men go A to B to C to D, right? Women don't think that way, right? We're like, okay, she said this. She wants this. If I do this, it'll make her happy. Point A to point B, right? It doesn't work that way, right? What's actually happening is she's testing you to see if you will change for her. And then if you change for her, she will actually resent you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so spot on. It's terrible.
It is what it is. I don't hate it anymore. I used to have a lot of anger towards women. But this is the way things are.
It's just like
and
a
I don't
psychology.
hate it.
It's like a messed up psychology game.
It's spiritual. I think it's not. This isn't something that's cultural. This isn't something that's like. It's not American. It's not. It's. This is spiritual. This is the difference between masculinity and femininity. The masculine is a mountain. The mountain is just there, motherfucker. And we're not going anywhere. And we're solid, you know? And we're calm. And we're there. And if you need to lean on me, I'm right here for you. You know? until eventually I'm going to start to crumble, right? With age. That happens. But for the sake of the example, women are the ocean, right? And sometimes the ocean's chilling. And sometimes the ocean is just ravenous big waves, you know? And sometimes the ocean crashes on top of the mountain just to feel the mountains there. Just to feel that it's there and it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what women do. They crash on us. And that's why the other thing, another way that this plays out is like women will like kind of, you come home from work, right? She's there. She's got problems. She's telling you about the problems. What does the male mind do? Starts to try to fucking solve the problems. Okay, she's complaining about this, so let's try to solve this. A to B.
Yeah.
What does she really want? She's saying, listen.
Yeah.
And hold her and let her know that everyth's okay.
That is so true.
That's what she wants.
Yeah.
She doesn't want us to solve shit. She wants you to know that she missed you while you weren't around. And that's why she's got all these problems. And that you're going to be there for her. That's what she wants. She doesn't want she doesn't actually care about any of the problems. What she's really saying is, hey, like, I missed you. You're back now. Come love on me. You know, like, that's what she's saying.
Yeah, I wish people could just be honest like that.
It would
avoid some fights, but that'll never be the case.
You know what? Some people are honest about it, and you know what those relationships are? Those are gay marriages.
Dang. Really?
No, I don't know. Because even in a gay relationship, there's still a masculine person and a feminine person. Like, there's masculine gay dudes and feminine gay dudes. You know, I was just joking.
I'm all thinking about it. I'm like, that's it. That's the secret.
No, I used to get really upset. Like, I had lots of anger towards women. Like, why are they like this? This doesn't even make any sense. Like, if this is how it is, I don't even want to date. But it's like, this is how it is for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not like women aren't trying to piss you off, or trying to manipulate you. Women aren't inherently bad for doing these things. This is the spiritual cosmic order of things.
Yeah.
And if it was just, if it was just tell me how you feel and I'll go solve it, and if it was just that, life would be boring. It'd be simple, way too simple. Like, it is the way it is. Everything about this life is perfectly made. Everything, especially men and women. Like, it was perfectly made. Yeah. Exactly.
And I truly believe that. And the greatest harm is making either of us hate each other.
Yes.
That's like the greatest evil. Like, if I were to have an evil plan, I'd be like, make women hate men and make men hate women. Yeah. That's slowly how you'll end the world.
For real.
And that's why I'm not with that group at all.
Good. Yeah, me either.
Yeah, literally, because I really think about it. What's the most you guys have done? Hyped each other up, sure, but with the root and foundation of we don't need men. Of like, we're strong without them. They've hurt us. Don't say say his name. Say the name of the person that did you dirty. Because it's not a them.
It's one guy.
It's not multiple people. It's one guy who probably came from a struggling family, or who probably just wasn't honest with you. You guys got yourself in that situation, but you can't blame the majority. You have to blame that one person and really do your own healing work. Right. Because hate never healed anything. Hate never brought us to a better place. So it's like, grow up a little bit. If we're going to be peace, love, joy, save the world, like, love heals. You can't associate to any ideology whose foundational belief is I hate.
Wow. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I talk about this often because I am a female, and majority of people my age are with that way of thinking.
I would also say, before I lose this thought, like, that if you can't forgive somebody for something, that it's probably because there's some aspect of it that you are responsible for that you don't want to look at. You know what I mean? So like all these women that, and even men too, like my wife, she took everything from me.
That's how they sound. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it happens. It happens all the time, and it's not a joke. You know, like it's. I mean, it's okay to laugh,
Okay.
but like, it's like, yeah, it does happen, but like you kind of got yourself in that situation somehow. There's something that you did to warrant that happening. It's not like just bad luck and women are bad. There are successful marriages out there.
Yes.
There are happy marriages. There are happy families. Yeah, and sure, like you maybe aren't with the best person, but guess what? Why'd you put a ring on it then, dude? See, somewhere down the line, you are responsible for something. And that's like the conversation. I don't think we're ready to have this collectively as a society, because women are still really pissed off at men. But like eventually it's going to be like, okay, but like what are y'all doing to like make to warrant this? You know, where it could be as simple as letting this man in your life. Just like you know, my redneck friend over here, right? Mm-hmm. Like why did he marry the wrong woman? Why did he marry a woman that wasn't the best for him? Mm-hmm. Because he was afraid. He's lonely. He's desperate. Mm-hmm. He wanted somebody. Well, that's what you get. Because you're not coming from a place of fullness. You're coming from a place of lack. Mm-hmm. And women too, like even let's say worst comes to worst, she's an angel and like she's never done anything wrong in her life, and she marries this guy and he's really abusive and he does all the bad things I don't even want to talk about, right? But like he's violent to her, he rapes her or whatever, right? Like somewhere along the line, she had to consent. Somewhere along the line, she had to invite this person in. Yeah. You know? Now there are certain circumstances, like if a woman's just walking down the road and something bad happens to her, yeah, that's really fucked up. And that doesn't really fit the confines of this analogy. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a different issue, you know? Mm-hmm. The point is like there is something, yeah, there is like the degree to which you are angry at one person or a collective, I don't know. It's almost like the degree to which like you're not willing to look at your involvement in it.
That's true.
You know?
So you have to face the responsibility you played in that situation happening.
But instead of doing that, it's way easier to be like, it's your fault.
Oh yeah. Feels good.
And what better way than to do it with millions of other women that are also just as pissed off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're really pointing out something a lot deeper than what this movement is, but more like individually, each person. Like you probably have an understandable reason to hate a man, or maybe 10. To be fair, you probably have a right and reason to hate 10 men, but like it's not your fault what happened. You have a responsibility in it, but you can forgive yourself so that you can forgive all 10 of those guys, so that you can realize that, dang, what are the odds that I got with 10 terrible guys that treated me terrible and given me this guilt and shame to hate your kind, but also hate myself to stay hating. But like, I forgive me, I forgive them, and I believe that there's someone out there that is good for me, that can show me what a real man is supposed to be like, unlike these 10. That's the winning mentality. Not saying what you've been through doesn't matter, not saying what you've been through is like wrong to talk about, wrong to feel mad and emotional. I'm just saying forgive them because they're out of your life, and forgive yourself because even though you had responsibility in whatever happened, you're not there anymore. You're out of that situation, unless it's the rare ones like that hit you by surprise. But it's like, cut it off. I'm welcoming someone better for me with the affirmations. Yeah. I welcome a man that will show me how I'm supposed to be treated. I'm welcoming a man that loves me, respects me, honors me, unlike these other ones. But once you start doing affirmations, you can't be focusing on these other ones. Yes. It's all about that which you're attracting.
Yes, exactly. If you're focused on the past, right? If you're focused on someone that hurt you, you're focused on the past. If you're focused on the past, you can't be here now. You can't be here. You're still back there. But right now is still moving. And so you're missing on the now.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's why it's like, forgive people, not for them. Forgive them for you.
Yeah.
So you can be done. And you can step forward into this moment with more fullness. You know? And the other thing too that's definitely worth talking about is like the average person is just, I don't even want to say it.
Say it.
The average person is just kind of lame. Like, I don't like most people. Like, I'll be kind to everybody if I am being my best self, and I'll exchange pleasantries with everybody, you know? But do I want to be deep friends with everybody? Hell no. You have to be a particular breed to make my cut. You know what I mean? And I'm not even saying I'm better. And I'm saying you could also be like super good in a completely different field that I'm just not interested in. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. And we can actually probably vibe in some way. But like, I am just very much a me. And I attract people that only, you know, like, it's very limited. What I'm trying to say is the number of people that I can vibe with is not that big of a number that I can really, truly, deeply connect with, right? Now, this also applies to relationships. It's even more with relationships, right?
Yes, it should.
Or
be.
I should say even less. It's even like it's really hard for me to find a good male friend that I really connect with. But that's what makes them so special when you do find it. It's like, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I chill with him, like, we have a good ass time, you know? And for your partner, it's even harder because that's your partner. Like, she's going to be the mother of your kids one day, you know? Like, so out of 100 people, a lot of them are probably going to be bad, or however many, like, you want to date, like 10 people, probably 10 of them will be bad. Probably all 10 of them won't be for you, you know? I don't know. Maybe there's obviously, it gets a little bit more complicated than that because like there's filters in the way, right? Like, it wouldn't get to a date unless certain prerequisites were met, right? But I digress. It's like, I just think that like we should give a little bit more credit to the like selection process and just know like no, not everyone, we're not supposed to be with everyone. That's why dating is important.
Yeah.
You know? And
learning I don't like that. Oh, I like that. You learned, you had your I don't like that 10 times, but don't stop there. Exactly.
Yeah. And then, and also, and then another thing too is like, have you ever heard the quote like, everywhere you go, there you are?
Not.
Like, okay, wherever you go, there you are. Okay.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, like,
it's deep.
It's really deep. It's actually really deep because people think, oh, if I go to this place, then I'll be this person. If I go learn this thing, then I'll be this person. If I go lift weights and I get jacked, now I'm going to be this stud. It doesn't work that way. Now you're just the same unconfident motherfucker with a bunch of muscle on. Okay? Now, obviously, it's not that simple. You're going to, since you set forth to do a goal and you're taking steps to follow through and do that goal and you achieve that goal, that is going to actually bump you up a little bit, but it's not going to solve all your problems, right? And everywhere you go, there you are. Like, wherever you go, that's where you're going to be. You're still going to be there, right? And so in the context of relationship, you had 10 bad relationships. What's the common denominator there? You were in all 10 of those, you know? So like, it's time for us to look at our involvement in stuff. Radical accountability.
Yes.
You know, like, realize like that's the most powerful frame that you can be in, is to take accountability for everything that's happened in your life. Because that means you have sovereignty over everything. right? You have dominion over everything, all of your choices, everything that's happened. Whenever you blame, you're actually giving away your power. So the best thing to do is say, this is all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. To an extent where you're almost wrong, because what better thing is to take responsibility and learn from these wrongs, like all the wrongs you've done. Because then it's not, I hate them. How dare he? Oh, what am I doing to attract this pattern?
Exactly. And yeah, like I liked how you said like to a fault, because I would rather do it to a fault than do it the other way. Mm-hmm. But then it's like I saw this TikTok the other day. This guy is like, my girlfriend had a dream where I had sex with another woman, and then she woke up, she's mad at me. That's my fault. I should like
that's my fault.
Like it was just like ridiculous reason after ridiculous reason. And he was like, that's my fault. I should have. And that was the joke of the meme, basically.
That's funny.
And at that point, probably not.
Yeah.
Right. At that point, it is your fault for not setting boundaries or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Dang.
Yeah.
What's it called? Responsibility. What did you say before it?
Taking responsibility for everything.
Yeah. You said it in a 2-word way.
I did?
Yeah, it was nice. Sovereign responsibility, something like that. Well, I'll find it.
I said sovereignty. I said dominion. Yeah, I don't know. When you find it, let me know.
That'll be the title.
All right, dope.
All right, so we're coming at 2 hours right now. I knew it. I'm like, we're not going to stop talking. But I wanted to leave you with this question of what can you leave with the listeners of how you've elevated to the point of consciousness and where you're at in your life?
Okay. Right now, I'm nowhere near, knock on wood, the success that I'm about to, like right now, I'm just blossoming on my wings. But I would say, don't care what anybody says. Mm-hmm. Do you, like, radically.
Yes.
And believe in yourself. Probably more that one.
Yes.
Like, believe in yourself. Belief is like it's the most potent energy to manifesting anything.
Wow.
Is like believing something. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing to want something, but if you don't believe that you can get it, you're not going to get it. It's going to show, because there are many, many, many trials along the way, and one of those trials will break you. Any little chink in your armor, you're done. You're exposed. And so you need to be just good to go. Mm-hmm. And so believe in yourself and do the work that it takes for you to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just say that. Do the work, but also believe it. I would rather believe in myself arrogantly. Like, I would rather over believe in myself mm-hmm. than under believe in myself.
Yeah.
If I believed in myself, I would be a lot further than I am today. Mm-hmm. But everything in divine timing as well. Everything in divine timing.
Yes.
So.
Ooh, that was good. That one resonates. I love that one a lot. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I absolutely love that conversation. I'm excited to listen to it again. So thank you.
Me too.
Well, I'll get you on again, maybe after Phoenix, since you come down.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.